All right, so if you guys want to go into your notability and go to 472, I'm going to keep these in the unit 0 section because we'll take a test like over all of this stuff. And I know we just took a quiz, and our quiz was over these equations, okay, that you guys did very well on. And then the warm-ups that we just did were these evaluating expressions. So we have some notes on this stuff already. So now I'm going to take you to, just kind of the next level of these evaluating expressions, where we have some three-dimensional objects, okay, which is just a fancy term for like cylinders and cones and things like that. But we're just going to be plugging in numbers to try and find different values. Okay, what I mean by that is this. Let's say we had a cone. Now, if you don't draw these very well, or a cylinder, I'm sorry, if you don't draw these very well, that's okay. Give it your best shot, or you could even just write down the work. But what I do is I make a little oval up top. And then you can even copy and paste that if you want to, but we want an oval the same size right below it. And then just attach the sides. So there is our cylinder. And let's give it a height of 12. We'll call them centimeters. And let's give it a radius. Remember, a radius just goes to the middle of it, okay? And we'll call that 3 centimeters. All right, so we're going to find the volume of this cone. Now, for the problems that we do, especially to start off with, you'll be given the formulas. So the formula for the volume of a cylinder is big B times big H. It is, yeah, but the base actually means area. The big B means area of the base. So like the base is a circle. So I'm going to write that a little more specific. The area of a circle is pi r squared times h. So that would be given to you. And all we need to do is plug in the numbers. So our radius is 3. That's going to go right in there. And our height is 12. That's going to go right in there. And so the volume is going to be pi times 3 squared. Okay, because I made the radius 3 times 12. So this is why we started with the orders of operation stuff, because now we got to remember we do the 3 squared first, okay, which is 9. So the volume is going to be pi times 9 times 12. And 9 times 12 is 108. So I'd say the volume is 108. And notice I didn't even do anything with the pi here. The reason I haven't done anything with the pi, what is pi roughly again?
3.14.
3.14, right? So I could do 108 times 3.14, but that's going to give me an approximate answer. If anything ever asks you for an exact answer, we just leave it like this. But much of what we do will ask you for an approximate answer. So I'm going to pull up my calculator in a second and do 108 times 3.14. So I'll go to my calculator if I could find it here. Where's my calculator? Let's pull it up here. Okay. And so on my calculator, if you guys want to do this, we get 108. And I can do times, either hit the pi button, which is in the lower right corner of the keyboard, or I could type in 3.14. But now what I want to show you is on this Inspire calculator, if I hit enter, it leaves it in exact. Okay, so you guys need to know how to change that. Instead of just hitting enter, I'm going to type in 108 pi, and I'm going to click and hold on the enter button. And it pulls up these little squiggles. The squiggles means approximate. So it's approximately 339.29. So that's the answer I'm going to write down for approximately 339.29. All right, so V, and I'll write the squiggle since it's approximately 339.29. There would be the approximate value. So that's not so bad as long as we remember, you know, where do we plug the correct stuff in? Any questions on that? So let's take a look at these three from the practice sheet. So the first one, you know, I saw you guys did a really good job of just writing it out. We have 4bx, so it's 4 times our b, which is 2, times our x, which is 0. So it's a good start. And then minus 3 times 2. So I saw a lot of that, which is excellent. It helps to write it out and just not try and do it all in your head, unless you guys are really good at these. When we do this, 4 times 2 is 8, but 8 times 0 is 0, right? So we just get 0 on the left-hand side. And then minus, okay, that minus comes down, and 3 times 2 is 6. And so 0 minus 6 is -6 for that first one. All right, for the second one, whenever I see these, like, explain what's wrong with the problem, I always like to just approach it, just try and do it yourself because you seem to know what you're doing, and then see where your work is different than the person's work. So we have 5t, our t is 3, so 5 times 3 minus 3y, so 3 times 5, minus our t, which is 3, times our y, which is 5. Okay, so I'm just kind of doing this problem on my own. And when I do that, I'm going to chunk it up by multiplying here, here, and here. So those are kind of my 3 chunks. So 5 times 3 is 15, minus 3 times 5, which is 15, minus 3 times 5, which is 15. And so just working from left to right, 15 minus 15, of course, is 0, and 0 minus 15 would give us an answer of -15. Yes. Oh, did I write it incorrectly? Thank you very much. The first part is a plus. Sorry, guys. Okay, this is a plus sign here. Okay, so now that means that this is going to be a plus sign. So that's going to change our answer a little bit, right? So now we have 15 plus 15 is 30, and then 30 minus 15 would give us an answer of positive 15. Thank you very much. All right, so let's compare this to what this person did over here. Well, I'm looking at, you know, this step kind of correlates to this step, and I can see my problem is that person wrote minus 35 instead of minus 3 times 5. So just don't make that mistake, right? So the 2 letters next to each other means you're multiplying them. All right, last but not least, we had problem 5. How much profit do they make for 38 shirts? Well, this is our equation. We make a profit of $350 per shirt. So I have to do 38 times 350. So I'll go to my calculator. 38 times 350, and I get $133. So I like to write it, 0.00, because it's money. You don't have to do that because it's a round number, but we okay with that so far? And then we want to fill in the chart, and the chart just basically is a math teacher's way of getting you to do 4 problems all in for the price of 1, really, right? So we're gonna like plug a 0 in, then we have to plug 100 in, then we have to plug 300 in, then we have to plug 400 in. So let's do that. When we do 3.50 times 0, well, I know that's going to be 0. I don't need my calculator for that, right? $0 profit. When I do 3.5 times 100, well, if I did 350 times 100, okay, and that's $350. And that should make sense, because remember, multiplying by 100 means that we're just moving the decimal over 2 spots. Remember that trick? So we get a profit of $350. So now I'll multiply it by 300 and then by 400. So I'll do 3.5 times 300 and 3.5 times 400. And so my answers are $1,050 and $1,400. Okay, any questions on that, guys? So let's head back to our notes. And you guys are doing pretty well with evaluating these expressions. And so now I want to show you a little something about, and I'm going to mark this off, on function notation. Because function notation looks way more complicated than it is. It's really much of what you were just doing. Okay, a function just means something that you're gonna plug things into. So a function has inputs. Just like that's exactly what you were doing. You were plugging numbers, and that's what we're gonna do. And then it gives you a number, it gives you an output, and that's exactly what you were finding. You were finding answers. You plug numbers in, that was your input, you got an answer, that was your output. So here would be an example of a problem in function notation, okay? It would be written with an f parentheses x equals. And then I'm going to write an equation. But what that, we would speak that as and say f of x. Okay, so you hear somebody say f of x, this is what they mean. So f of x is equal to, let's say, 2x to the third minus 4x plus 1. So f of x is equal to 2x to the third minus 4x plus 1. We want to find f of 3. So the hurdle of this problem is, if you just know what they're asking, you all can do this fairly easily. What they're asking is, they're just saying, plug 3 in for the x's, just like you've been doing. That's all that means. We're plugging 3 in for the x's, and not over here, okay? All we're doing is plugging 3 in for the x's in the equation. So when it says find f of 3, that just means I'm gonna make this x a 3 and this x a 3. So let me write that out. So 2, then I'm plugging in a 3, that's my input, minus 4, and I'm plugging in a 3, plus 1. Okay, and now we need to evaluate it like you were doing, right? So remember your dear Aunt Sally tells us to do exponents, okay, like we do the 3 to the third part before we multiply by 2. What's 3 to the third? Very good. 3 times 3 times 3, which is 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. Good. So it's 27. So 3 to the third is 27. So we have 2 times 27 minus 4 times 3 is 12 plus 1. Yeah. So 2 times 27, that's going to be 54 minus 12 plus 1. All right, 54 minus 12, that's going to be 42, right? Plus 1 would be 43. And so our answer is 43. So the only thing about this function notation and the wording of it is just to realize all it means is you're going to take the number that's inside that parentheses and plug it in for all of the x's in the problem. Okay?